Today I want to talk about a term that gets thrown around a lot, especially when we're talking about youth. And what I want to talk about today is bullying. We don't generally think about that in terms of adults. You think about scenarios, you can even probably think back to your own childhood, things that you were bullied for, situations. It could be a pretty cruel world for kids, especially in junior high, high school, things that somebody might try to take advantage of you, physically overpower you, try to make your life miserable. And one thing that I always think about is life is already hard enough as it is, and somebody going out of their way to treat you that way just makes things even more miserable, right? And what happens if we don't address the issue of bullying when we're younger, it starts to translate into our adult lives too. Okay, so maybe it's not the same way. Maybe there's not a guy waiting for you after school that wants to beat you up to take your lunch money, but that could come in the form of people taking advantage of us, like I stated earlier. People feeling like we don't have any boundaries, understanding what a boundary is, and maybe we're always saying yes all the time, okay, because we feel like something might happen if we don't. We can't develop appropriate friendships or relationships with people that we want to date, okay? Or we start to develop what they call toxic relationships, okay? We're such in the need of wanting to be loved or wanting attachment that we end up getting in multiple situations where we continue to get taken advantage of. So I'll share my own experience. I grew up in a pretty rough neighborhood. I was the only white kid in my neighborhood and one of the only white kids in school, with being white with red hair. Okay? And so what started off first as being just called like leprechaun or whatever else translated into me kind of running for my life off the bus trying to get home. And the big answer to that is my parents realized very quickly that I couldn't rely on them all the time to handle situations. And they knew that they had to find a way to teach me to be an advocate for myself. And so the answer for that was martial arts. Okay, so I started training at a pretty young age. I'd been training since I could walk, but I started taking my training super seriously around the 8 to 9 year old range, okay? And I started training rigorously and learning martial arts, and it was amazing how quickly my life changed and how empowered I felt, okay? I wasn't allowing people to physically overpower me anymore. I had a voice for myself. I started feeling more confident. And that translated beautifully into high school and later on in life now. That is what self-defense training, one of the big aspects that's supposed to do for you mentally and spiritually for you, is to empower you, for you to go out and get that respect that you want, to feel confident in the decisions that you make. When you're being treated unfairly, or you feel like someone is taking advantage of you, that you have a voice to say something. Okay? And if that means doing so, that you feel like you can confidently defend yourself physically. So part of our Satori Street program is not just about the physical. We're going to teach you the best physical techniques that we possibly can if that comes down to a physical confrontation. But most of our problems, when you're talking about self-defense, so many of them translate into our everyday lives, verbally, our relationships, advocating for the raise that you want, that you're too afraid to say that you want, or going for the job that you want, okay? All of those things translate, and they should, in your training. So that's something that we're really going to work on. Or having the confidence to go for the girl that you may want. You can't always say that you're going to win every single fight, right? Like everybody has a bad day or a situation can come up that can throw you off. But I want to feel like I at least have the confidence to be prepared, that I can respect that fear response, and that I'm going to do something about it. And I feel like that's the biggest difference that martial arts has done for me, is that I believe that I can and I'm willing to take every opportunity to advocate for myself or for someone else. This is really important, for someone else that can't. Okay? There's been several situations to where I've, even off duty from law enforcement, okay, outside of my job, have come out into a parking lot and I've seen a woman being kind of manhandled by with her boyfriend or husband and intervened in a conflict like that. I intervened this last summer in a gas station conflict, okay, that could have gone, it already was going really bad, but could have gotten a lot worse. And I think that sometimes it's not just about advocating for ourselves, but other people. I'm not telling people that you need to get involved in everybody's conflict, but what I am saying is that you feel empowered to help and empowered to stand up for yourself. I think that's really important. And that's going to translate into the relationships that we have with our own kids too. They're watching everything that we do, right? So if you feel empowered and you're teaching them to advocate for themselves, all the better those relationships are going to be. And that's going to continue to pass on into their relationships. Okay? So that's a really essential thing with Satori. We are about kicking ass. We want to give you, we love the physical aspects of training. But if I'm not giving you this too, if I'm not teaching you to become more confident in yourself, if I'm not teaching you to go for the things that you find are really important, taking those chances, then I'm only giving you such a small piece of training. All those things should translate into your life, and you should be able to feel like a better person each day, right? That's what we're about giving you too, helping you every step of the way transform as a fighter for both life and whatever physical confrontations may come your way. Thank you.